Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to another episode of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Here we are again, Wednesday, the 12th day of October in the year 2022. Welcome, 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 one and all. And share the live, share the live. Let's go. The numbers are mounting. And I noted this morning that people are here very early, man. Very early. Nobody wants to be late. This fine thing is not going to work. Somebody was here. Check. Patricia was here at 10:30. Sarah here at 10:31. Natasha D at 10:31. Vibert was here at 10:33. Vibert, normally you're the first man to be on the program for many weeks, but this time you got beat down to number 4. You got to watch it. You're losing the top spot. And followed by Dudley, my friend from Jamaica. Dudley is in the house. Old Police Dudley. Countryman George is here. Good morning, George. Dennis, you made it, but 1 minute after 11. And if you are the secretary, you are the self-appointed, or I think one of those girls appointed you as secretary, you got to be here on time. And on time for you should be 15 minutes. You got to fall in 15 minutes, fall in and cover down. Fall in and cover down to be inspected. So here we are. Denise, welcome. Joan, Pamela, Patricia, Canty, welcome, Canty. Jacko all the way from Georgia. Lynette from Barbados. Raul G is in the house. Raul G is always here, always here. Raul G says he's here, he's present. My friend from Essequibo Coast, welcome. Desiree, Corrine, Kenrick, old coach, how are you, on? Coach, long time, coach. Joan is here, as usual. Then we have Khadija, Patricia F. Ulrich in the house. Ulrich is a regular. Ulrich don't absent, nor is he late. Always in the house. And we have so many people from all over. Dion, welcome. Welcome. Raul, you said at 11:02, you said present and early. If the program starts at 11 o'clock, you have to say present, but you can't say early because you're 2 minutes late. And if you're 2 minutes late, you got some cruel SOs, as you will know, that lock you up for being late for duty. The fine might be minimal or the punishment might be minimal, but you're 2 minutes late, you will be booked. You will be booked. Ariette, welcome. Simone, Parmanan, Aileen. Oh man, and you're here. Mark all the way from DC. Mark B from DC, old cricketer. Well, I shouldn't say old cricketer. I guess you might be still playing as well. Chilo, welcome. Lado, you make it. 3 minutes after 11, Lado, you make it. Can't blame you for that. Can't blame you. So you made it. Maureen, Jeanette, Robbie is here, man. Robbie is here as usual, very bright and early. Robbie, don't miss anything. Okay, all right, Raul, accepted. Raul said he was driving and he had to pull in a corner not to be late. That is dedication. And we appreciate that very much. We appreciate that very much. Orin, all the way from the UK. Orin, my chicken, man. Welcome. Emerson, welcome. Maureen, welcome. We have Jakey, welcome. And all of these people, Barbara again, Mark, Sean, Commissioner Cole, welcome, sir. Welcome. Elise, welcome, Elise. I can't recall seeing you last week, but we gotta deal with that. I'm sure Denise will be able to say whether you were here or not. Tessa, welcome, Tessa, welcome. And I know Tessa will normally ask you to say welcome to CC. So he's on the studio ready and he's waiting. He's studio and Stephanie, welcome. Lawrence, welcome. Joan, Kim is here. Aurikia, you remind them 15 minutes before the appointed time. Wayne is here as well. And it is very encouraging to see the number of persons who are always here every week and waiting to hear and for this information that we have to pass on. Denise, she's here. Boss, and my mom always told us, Satan, easy better than beg pardon. He's well, accepted that. He's accepted. And we are here, and we are ready to go. And I want to give a special shout out this morning to Ari McCrae, former police corporal W259. Back met me at a function, I think it was on Sunday, and she told me she's a regular viewer. She's a regular listener. She don't miss out. And so I have to give her a special shout out this morning. So I'm sure you're on. I haven't seen you because you don't make comments, but you're there. And therefore, welcome to all. Ingrid, welcome. Now, let me say, again, share the live. Squatty Sheila from Delaware is here. Sheila from Delaware, she has now become a regular viewer on the program. The numbers are mounting rapidly, so let's continue to share the live. And almost every week now, we are getting people on the program who are indicating that they are on for the first time. They're a first-time viewer. And welcome to those first-time viewers. And as I've said, as I've been saying, all you have to do if it's a first-time viewer, or if you view and you haven't seen all the episodes, just go to YouTube. You go to YouTube and you're going to find all the episodes there so you can catch up in your own time. So welcome, share the live. And as I've been encouraging you to do, and I've noted, many persons have gone to YouTube and they have subscribed to the channel. And I hope when you subscribe to, you hit the notification button so that you can get the notification when the program goes live. And let me make this point as well. I don't know, gremlins and these jagabots and the amphibians are at work, because this program is on 11 o'clock on Wednesday, 11 o'clock. I had a notice from one of the regulars asking me if there was a change in time. There's no change in time. And then I saw on the page itself something saying that the program is 3 o'clock this afternoon. So the people are at work. The people are at work. But let me tell you, 11 o'clock on Wednesday. If for any reason there's any change, I will be the one to notify you on both pages, that my personal Facebook page and Speaking Out. So don't be misled. 11 o'clock, and that is 11 o'clock Guyana time, which is the same time now in New York. 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Jamaica. And I say 11 o'clock is Guyana, Barbados, Eastern Caribbean countries. Don't let them fool you. When the time changes in New York, I will let you know the difference in time. So that is by way of introduction. Welcome, share the live. And we will always say we have to give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to be here. Now, let me just digress a little bit to say, come on, you're late, 12 minutes late, 8218 come badge. Old police, he's reporting for duty, and he is saying that he has reported. But you're a little late, and we're going to use a discussion because we know that a lot of people make every effort to be on time, but things intervene. So yeah, let's give praise and thanks to the Almighty for allowing us to be here to see another day and to be a part of this program. So welcome. Continue to share the live. We still need to go up a little bit more in the numbers. Continue to share the live. Some people say hit the emoji. I want to be abusive, but say share it down live and hit the emoji. So, but do that so that more people can get the information and be advised and informed as to what is going on. Today is the 12th of October 2022. And before I go forward, let me bring in my co-accused, my friend, my colleague, Mr. Clinton Conway. CC, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you, Paul. Morning to our viewers, listeners. As I always say, happy to be in the land of the living. And I know the 12th is supposed to be your anniversary.
Yeah, well, I said let me bring you in before I tell the anniversary really is the 15th of October. And people want to know what anniversary we're referring to. It was on the 15th of October last year that I turned up at the Georgetown Magistrate Court in answer to a summon from the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU. I turned up to answer a charge of conspiracy to commit fraud. And when I turned up in the court compound, the police from the same unit were there to arrest me, to arrest me for the same matter that I attended court for. And I said the anniversary is on the 15th. Today's the 12th. Last year, on the 13th of October, I returned to Guyana specifically for the purpose of attending court to answer the trumped up charge. And as I've said, by the time I touched down on the 13th, they were trying to get me, they're tracking my phone, they're doing all sorts of magic, trying to get me to arrest me. Just really to embarrass, because there was no reason, there was no lawful reason for them to do so. And even go even further back, because on the 19th of May, when they arrested Mr. Conway, I was due to travel to Guyana the same day, and they went to the airport. They sat there and they waited to me because they wanted to arrest me at the airport, big scene, and to embarrass. And I did not travel that day. I rescheduled for the following day. They turned up the next day again. They turned up the next day. To 2 consecutive days, Ransom Soku went to the airport at Timeri, waiting to arrest me. When they summoned me to attend court on the 15th, well, that is after that, they then summoned me to attend on the 15th. And when I turned up in court on the 15th, the people are there to arrest me for the same matter that they summoned me for and that I appeared in court. So when you talk about incompetence, and I know it's going to be revealed in due time, because they got instructions to do that. Because what they wanted to do, they wanted to arrest me, take me into the police lockup, and then what they call give the pop walk, handcuff, maybe even foot shackles, and then pass it through in the full glare of the media and the world, and that is the image. But I was not going to have that, because they had no legal authority to do that. This was a matter before the court, and therefore I am turning up to attend court. The only way they could have gotten the authority to arrest me is if a warrant was issued. If a warrant had been issued by the court, then not even then, you can't arrest a man in the court compound to go to court. So that was the anniversary that Mr. Conway is referring to. And CC, you were there the day. You were there the day because you attended court the same day as well.
Yeah, I was very much there, and I have my recordings too. You know, the cameras don't lie. And they wanted to treat you like how they treated Dr. Ashney Singh, put on handcuff him in, and he said he wore the handcuff like a badge of honor.
Well, I didn't wear in no badge of honor like that, because even before you get to the badge of honor, you get your constitutional rights. And I'm not going to allow some numbskull police to get their way in that manner. If it was something legal, I would have subjected myself to that, but it was totally illegal, totally unlawful, and I was not going to subject myself to that. So the anniversary is rapidly approaching, and we got to let people know that, as we indicated earlier, charges were filed on the 19th of May, 2021, conspiracy to commit fraud, myself, Mr. Conway, some other retired officers, some serving officers, and up to this day, the matter has not progressed. The matter has not progressed. Lawyers have asked for statements. They have asked Soku, the lawyer they representing Soku, how many witnesses were going to be called. They cannot give an answer. They cannot give an answer. Well, the matter is set again for November the 3rd. So let's wait and see what will happen then. CC?
Yes, and not a disclosure. I understand that the attorney has left the job, so maybe they have to find another 5,000 US to hire another attorney to prosecute the case that they don't have.
Yeah, yes, there is a saying, give the views a replay. It's there, and I think it's there on social media, YouTube. It is very much there. If you go to, I think, Travis Chase page, it is there for people to see exactly what transpired. So it is there. Now, moving on, I saw in the news, we follow the news and keep abreast. And I saw this robbery at Kaicho News. I looked at the thing, and I'm a security. I've been involved in security all my adult life. And when I looked at what took place, certain things, and as an experienced senior police officer, I said, now something look wrong. Because based on the CCTV footage, a man just walking. There was a security guard sitting there. He appeared to have been on the phone. And the man walking, opened the door and went straight. It looked like he pulled a gun and stuck up the security guard. So I said, well, something wrong. What type of security is that? You have a place where people are working. If you have a security, I would have expected at the least the front door will be locked. But in this case, the front door was not locked based on what the CCTV footage showed. So I wasn't surprised when yesterday I read that some former employee, current employee, and that people were there basically inside job because the people knew exactly where to go, and so. But so I wasn't surprised. I was not surprised. So let's see where that will go. CC?
I myself wasn't surprised for the matter. You mentioned the name. Cumberbatch texted me, and I responded, set up inside job, and apparently that was it. But apparently they did some good work so far. I like the alacrity in which they perform. But I wonder if it was somebody else than other ways than Glenn Lal, if we'd have acted with the same rapid response.
Well, I said this, and I told someone this, I think early this morning or yesterday. And I was a commander in a division for 4 years, as you will know. And I have been a senior police commander for a number of years. And I maintain, I used to say then was a commander, I'm saying it again. I used to tell the police, when you have serious crimes in Georgetown, in particular, serious crimes such as the one you are there are very few occasions when the police will not have a good indication as to who the perpetrators are. Very few. Let me say this, and I say this without fear of being successfully contradicted. Once you have a serious crime in Georgetown in particular, them police just know who the likely suspects are. Now they get information, and the question is always how they are going to deal with the information. As you were saying, it's Kaichor News and Glenn Lal, so they will go up with alacrity and they recovered money and all of that. But other crimes, they know the perpetrators, and there is evidence. There is evidence that many times they go and they negotiate with the perpetrators. So it is good to know that at least on this occasion, they move and they get the perpetrators. And I just want to again caution, because I noted in the media that, excuse me, one of the suspects has given a caution statement. And I am always worried when I hear about caution statements. So I will urge that they go beyond the caution statement and to get other evidence to make sure that the matter can be successfully prosecuted. Caution statement, even if you recover the money, I understand they might have recovered other things as well. You have to make sure you get all the evidence, because as I've said in this program, when you go before the court is not what about who is right or who is wrong and who is thief man. The court is about what evidence you can produce to convince the court. You might have all type of suspicion, and suspicion is not evidence. Suspicion, no matter how strong, is not evidence. You have to get the evidence. And CC, we used to teach them what is the definition of evidence and all that. I hope they remember. And if they don't remember, let them go and brush up to see what is evidence, what is acceptable, because what is acceptable in a court of law and all of that. Because when you talk about caution statement, then a lot of questions will come, whether the judge's rules were followed. Some lie going to come and make some allegation that the man was coerced, if some promise was held out to him, and then the caution statement goes, and the matter goes with the caution statement. CC?
Yes, they need to, apart from caution statement, look for forensic fingerprints and other things they can find. So tie it up and don't worry with the caution statement. Find other compelling, other admissible evidence.
Correct. There's words of caution that we're giving to them. We're telling them to make sure you tie it up. You get a matter like this, tie it up properly. Forensic. You have the CCTV footage, fingerprints if there were any, And you gotta do work, man. You gotta do police work. Don't be lazy. You gotta do police work. Now moving on. The next thing I have here, I noted that there was a fire in Berbice. And when I saw the thing, I said, oh, shucks, this is a fire that was just next to the commander's building. The building that housed the commander at the corner of King Street and Strand. It's just opposite Kissoon. I know the area well because I lived there for about 4 years. But when I read the story, the house is occupied by the regional executive officer, the REO. I remember when I was commander there, the late superintendent Incompetence, he occupied that building along with his family because even though it was a government building, it's not police building, he was able to use his political connections and get access to that building. But what struck me as strange when I read the report is that the REO was out of the jurisdiction at the time, but the building was being guarded by a security guard. Or the place. So I said, here it is again. We have an REO live in the government building and security guard. It reminds me of the political advisor or the advisor to the Minister of Affairs who had ranks of the TSU guarding him. They're armed with assault rifle and guarding him, and you know the rest of that. So I looked at it and I said, well, look what is going on here. REO get security. See?
I made the same observation on REO with security. And then I didn't hear, maybe it might come later on, that the intellectual authors of that burner down there might have come from overseas. And I didn't hear about a piece of sponge, a wire, and a lighter.
Well, I made the same observation. I said, let me wait to hear who are the intellectual authors behind this fire. Because when there was the fire at Brickdam, they were intellectual authors. When there was a fire at police headquarters, the OPR building there that adjoins the DPP's chamber, you had intellectual authors. And recently, I think only recently this morning, I'm reading something which suggests, where some minister is suggesting that the recent accident at the Demerara Harbour Bridge might also have intellectual authors. So all of these things have intellectual authors. So let's wait and see. It's pure madness. It's insanity. It's insanity. You got a fire, intellectual authors. Now the bridge, some vehicle or tanker ran into the bridge, and they are suggesting they play some old tape with Burke from New York saying something about the bridge, and therefore they're suggesting that he might be behind. No, it's madness, it's insanity. CC is insanity.
More than insanity, Paul. More than insanity.
Long ago they used to say there are more people out of the madhouse than are in. It seems to be that is coming true. More people out than in. There's a lot of crazy people. I saw a complaint here. And it disturbed me. Let me go through, and then I'm gonna ask CC to comment. A man, ex-police, he made a complaint. He wrote something on social media, and I made a copy. Basically saying that he collected his car from a mechanic some evening, and he was driving. I think it was this very week. Today is Wednesday. I might have been over. I think Monday or maybe sometime recently. He was driving, going home using the Mocha Road, and he said it was a roadblock. And a sergeant, Indian sergeant, he says, and a female constable. So that can't be no roadblock. Two persons, a sergeant. Back in the day, he used to say there's a porks block. They stand up there maybe to get porks. He said the sergeant stopped him and told him that his vehicle, one light of the vehicle was out. So he said, well, that couldn't be. He told the sergeant, he said, look, I just came from the mechanic and everything was working. Sergeant said, no, the light. So he came out of the vehicle. He confirmed that the light was not working. So he proceeded to tap the light. And when he tapped the light came on. So apparently there was some shortage. So he said to the sergeant, you see, there must have been some shortage and so on, but the light is working. You know, the sergeant told him, let me quote what he said, the sergeant telling. The sergeant said, I don't care. It was out when I saw you. The sergeant told the civilian former police, I don't care. The light was out when I saw you, and proceeded to give him a traffic ticket for $5,000. That is the action the sergeant took. And I say that in the context of people talking about public relations. They're running all over the place and trying to outreach. These type of actions are what causes people to go against the police. That is, I believe, even is unreasonable. I, in my day, used to conduct similar operations. And it used to be routine. People used to tell you, so sorry, I didn't know that the thing. I'm gonna, but they come and they tap it. Similarly, they tap it. It came out. You allow them to go. You allow them to go because we know lights and those things. You can leave home with your light working. You drop in some pothole and something up when the thing blow. All right, nothing going to try to con you, but you have to be reasonable. You have to be reasonable. Many times I remember when I was a commander at West Demerara, you get a roadblock dealing with unlighted vehicles because they are dangerous. Unlighted vehicles on the road are indeed very dangerous. Either they no light at all or one light, very dangerous. And I used to tell them, if you fix it before we are finished, sometimes the operation will last about an hour, so fix it. And once we satisfy it is fixed, go your way. But we're not going to allow you to continue to drive during the hours of darkness without lights. But it struck me as very unreasonable for this sergeant to, given the circumstances of this matter, to tell the man that you got to get a ticket and give him a $5,000 ticket. See?
Paul, you don't understand the reality. What's happening? The driver didn't left something, so the sergeant writes something. But seeing that we're talking about lights, if we could move on, there are some issues with the minister and the Middle East across West Demerara. Could you recall?
What was that? The minister and what?
Lights.
Well, I saw in the paper recently that not in the paper. This was a report from NCN that there was some what the minister called campaign to deal with the same issue that we have been highlighting here week in, week out. That is private vehicles using siren and flashing light. Apparently recently there was a campaign, and what struck me is that the minister who is telling NCN about this police operational matter and said that the campaign is going to continue. First of all, I always had a problem with campaign because when you talk about campaign, you're inferring that it's something for a limited period. I used to tell them when I was the traffic chief, I don't want to have a campaign. Enforce the law continuously. Enforce the law. But we talk about political interference in the Guyana police force, and this again is evidence that the Minister of Home Affairs is directing based on the report. He is at least telling people about this operational matter. That's not the minister's portfolio. That's not what the law says that the minister should do. If you have an operational matter that is under the purview of the commissioner of police, whether he's sitting in the chair, whether he's acting, whether he's substantive, that is the commissioner of police role. But the minister is talking about that. So again, evidence of political interference. Evidence. I want the next thing you know, the minister can put on white sleeves, and he can go on the road and direct the traffic. That's what's gonna happen next. And yes, Selwyn, maybe what happened is that with the man and the $5,000 ticket that was given, the Charmer, Chandon and Ryan Charmer used to say on the program, the police used to tell you left or right. And they say left or right. So when people, especially foreigners, were confused, they don't understand what you mean, then they would explain it. You either left something or I write a ticket. So maybe that was the issue there with this man who got the ticket for $5,000. Probably didn't play game. SEC.
That's true too. And getting back to the minister, here it is, the minister, is it again engaging in operational matters? It is clear that the minister deals should be with policy and the police operation. They must be the separating wall, which I always say would be sacrosanct. And we can't have the minister being engaged in operational matters. He did it several times before. I remember a Christmas Eve day, he sent happy and nice Christmas message, charge the fallen officers. no proceed with criminal charges against the fallen officers with no statement, no report, no file, no nothing, and many other matters where he's involved in operational matter. We used to say, Paul, if you recall our training, we talk about the gold, silver, and bronze commandos. The gold commander sets the strategy, the silver develop the tactics, and the bronze just do the work. But when we find gold melting down to silver and bronze, or silver up into gold or bronze, or even bronze trying to play the role of silver and gold, we'll have confusion, we'll have chaos. So the minister should stick within policy and allow the police to do the operational work, although we know that they are very incompetent, but they can learn.
But let me say this. I agree with you, but let me say this. The minister can do that because he's allowed to do it. He is allowed to do it. I recall not so long ago, I mean, people talk a lot of things and they want to malign Henry Green. Now, perhaps some of the things that he deserved, God rest the dead. But I know I was the sitting in the operations chair for a period of time when Green was the commander. There's no way Clement Roy or any other government minister could have gotten involved in operational matters like that with Green. Under Felix, there's no way that those things would have happened, because what happens now, that when you have people who are incompetent, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know their right, they don't know what the law says. So when politicians to whom they are indebted to, don't forget that part, the politicians to whom they are indebted to tell them to do something, they jump and they do it. They're not going to question the legality of such orders and all of that. They're not going to do that. Either they don't know or they're not taking that chance, because the man put me there. If I ask any question and the man get vexed, the man can move me. That seems to be the thinking of these people. That's easy.
So true, Paul. So true. And this political decisions that they follow in. I remember there was a minister by the name of Gadraj who was deeply involved in operational matter. And when they had the inquiry, the Discipline Forces Commission, and he was questioned by the commissioners there in terms of the illegal instructions that he gave to Minister McDonald. And McDonald carried out, including upgrading, I think was Axel Williams, a known bounty hunter, from a point 22 to a 9 a.m. And you know what Gadrad said? Gadrad said, Commissioner McDonald should have been guided by the Constitution and his conscience. So he threw the commissioner under the bus. So those who are taking political decisions, political actions, be aware with the politicians, they're going to throw you under the bus and you have no recourse.
Well, true. So you say you should have been guided by the Constitution and his conscience, but the Constitution is there. But perhaps people say cockroach eat out your conscience, country will say cockroach eat out your conscience. So you ain't got no conscience to be guided by. Yeah. And then the next, I have said to our viewers every week, people make comments, people ask questions. The thing is of such, this program is of such that sometimes it's very difficult to stay up to date with all the comments that are made when we're on the live. But what I will normally do when the live is finished, I will go and I will run the comments. So that is when I see all the amphibians and the trench crab and the jaggerbots. I look at the comments, and those that are worthy of commenting on, I need. So last week when I ran the comment, I saw a man made, and I saw him online. He's online now, so you're gonna know that I'm referring to him. I'm not gonna call his name here, but he said he was assaulted by the police yesterday, and he was saying this last week Wednesday, so that would have been last Tuesday. And they said that he can't make a report. He went to the station to make a report. They said he can't make a report against the rank that arrested him, right, at the station. And you have to go to OPR to make the report. And they also told him he can't get a medical report form from that station. And then he has to go to the inspector to settle the matter. This morning, that's Wednesday morning, he had to go to the inspector. And then he asked what he should do. So I'm sorry I didn't get to respond to him immediately. But when I look at it, I say I need to comment on it and we need to comment on it for the edification of the young policemen who are here. Many policemen are following us, and they are learning. They reach out to me, they say they are learning, and we will continue to teach. And for the members of the public too, who will have an interest. Now, once you are making a report, in this case, the man said he was assaulted. I suspect, based on what you said, police assaulted, maybe in an attempt to arrest you, whatever it is. But the police at the station cannot refuse to take the report. They cannot refuse to take the report. You're making a report, they ought to take the report. CC?
That's true. That depends on the nature of the report. Is either you use the occurrence book or the crime book, not writing a note diary. And in terms of the medical, it is the role of the police to escort the man to the doctor and receive the medical certificate. And he has to go in the witness box and give evidence if it's a trial, stating that during the journey from the police station to the hospital, he received no further injuries, because you can give a man a medical report and he gone to the doctor, and between the police station and the hospital or wherever, he received further injuries, or he might even inflict other injuries on himself. And about reports, they get something called in-transit reports. A man can make a report of an incident at Breakdown Police Station, or an incident that happened at the Keriku or in Bamadai or somewhere else, and you send a message to it that we call in-transit report. It is a duty for the police to record all the reports and not to send anybody to OPR. OPR dealing with complaint. OPR is not no police station. So citizens can go to any police station and make any report that thing happen anywhere in this country. And it's not giving a person a medical report and say, a medical report form and say, go and see the doctor. The police, according to our regulation, must escort the man, and he must be examined in the presence of the police who escorted him. And the police would have to give the evidence in court that during the journey the person received no further injuries.
Well said, CC.
Okay,
let me expand on two things that you have said there. Well, not further clarification. If someone wants to make a report, when a civilian is making a report or anyone is making a report, you don't have to concern yourself about station district. This nonsense that the police telling you are creeping in, you can make a report at any station. So, for example, if you live at BV and something happens at BV, but it is more convenient to you to report the matter at Breakdown, the Breakdown police or any other station, even if you're in Berbice, they are obliged to accept the report. However, once the report is accepted and they recognize that it's a BV incident, the matter occurred, as you rightly pointed out, you have to do an in-transit report. You transmit the report to BV for further action to be taken. In many cases, depending on the nature of the report, when the report is made, you might even have to take statements from the reporter, and then you transmit the report along with the statements for follow-up action. So this nonsense for people, for years now, people say they go to a police station to make report, and then they're going to tell you, say, well, there's not this station district. They must go to that. Civilians are not concerned with station district. Civilians want to make a report, and the report should be entertained at any police station. And another thing you spoke about there is about medical certificate. You are absolutely correct. The medical report form should not be given to the person and say you go to the hospital. You have to accompany the reporter. Man come and make a report about an assault. You have to accompany him. You are the one who's going to give the medical report form to the doctor. The doctor is going to write up, and he hands it back to you, the police.
Yeah.
He hands it back to you, the police. And then when you get back to the station, you will write a statement to say that you escorted this reporter from whatever station to the hospital or to our clinic, and that during the course of the journey he did not receive any further injury. But as you pointed out, this practice that they're doing now is very dangerous, because a man can come and make a report at the station. He get relatively minor injuries. You tell him take the report form, go to the station, go to the hospital. On his way, he can boom see head, inflict injuries. And then when he get to the doctor is going to examine all the injuries. There's no distinction about the injuries that he actually went to the police station with and the injuries he turned up at the hospital. It's just a dangerous thing. The purple should be escorted to ensure they can give a statement to say that the person did not receive any further injury. And as you rightly pointed out too, if it comes to a trial, then that police has to go into the witness box to give that evidence. So all of these things are things that we are telling you, the members of the public. So if you go to any police station to make a report and they're telling you, oh, this is not this station, you must go to that station, insist that the report be taken. And if the report is not taken, then you ought to make sure that the necessary action is taken. You have to make sure that the necessary action is taken. But to answer the thing, what the man should do, I don't know what has happened, whether you went back the next day and what is the development in that matter. But I'm saying that based on the question you asked, a report can be made and the police were obliged. That's their duty to accept the report. They can't tell you go to OPR when you're making a report about assault. If at some subsequent time you're not satisfied with the action taken, then you can go to the Office of Professional Responsibility or you can go to the Police Complaints Authority and make a report. So let's understand it clearly. Let's understand it clearly. See?
Well, Paul, is not only at the bottom there, you know. I heard a divisional commander on the social media telling somebody to go and make his complaint at the Police Complaint Authority. A commander telling him when the commander should accept the report and take the necessary action. So it's from top down.
Yeah, well, I hope they're listening and hope they're learning. Andrew, I see Andrew is saying there that we should teach him how to do a roadblock. And he's talking about that as a roadblock erected all day. And at times 2 ranks standing. Well, those things are not roadblock, you know. The Police Act, Chapter 16:1, speaks about who can command a roadblock and all of that, and how roadblocks are to be established. I mean, with the training, the tactical training, I'm not going to go into all the details and all of that, but there are 2 types of roadblocks. Those things that they have are more in the military jargon, more like control points. I mean, they call it roadblock because they are basically 2 types of roadblocks that you call the established roadblock and you call a snap roadblock. But those things that they have there all day at those places, please don't mount roadblocks. Let me understand it. Because roadblocks call for lots of equipment that many times the police don't have. What they have is a control point where you put a barrier across the road and you stop vehicles for whatever purpose. So that is not technically a roadblock. And given the activities that go on at some of these, people will say it's a porks block. And when you say porks block, is the term used to be used to say they put these things here, basically to shake people down. I mean, it's not every time that happens. Let me understand it clearly. And I continue to say they are good policemen in the police force. At the officer level, at the intermediate level, at the junior level, they are good police. One of the big problems that you have is leadership, lack of proper leadership. So when the man went to the police station to make this report, and they're telling him, well, he can't. What happened to the people in charge of the station? What happened? They're not going to intervene to make sure that the correct thing is done. And then when you got a man like a sergeant running this thing in Mocha, and it's so unreasonable to tell the man that he must get a ticket, even though the light came on and he saw that perhaps it was just a shortage. That is the type of thing that you gotta treat with. That is the type of thing you gotta treat with. So, Andrew, it's not really a roadblock, you know. It's really, and they know they just go out there and they establish these things and cause a lot of problems. Sometimes some of the hours, we don't know what really is the purpose of those control points. In the middle of the day, sometimes in the peak traffic, they have it up to only causing aggravation and delay, and that is why people will always tend to criticize police. Always criticize. See?
And many times I pass, and there are no police there manning those control points, and you drive through and you go along your way.
Yeah, and let's move on. And I will continue to talk about the frequent fatal accidents and what is going on the roads of Guyana. I will continue to talk about it because last week we spoke. The week before, there were 7 fatal accidents in 10 days. Then last week when we came on, there was an additional 2. And we come on now only to hear that you have 2 more on the quarantine. I think it was early yesterday morning. And it continues. And the reason why it continues is because there is no proper plan in place to deal with the lawlessness that is going on the road, all facets of road use on the road, whether it's pedestrian, whether it's cyclists, pedal cyclists, motorcyclists, car drivers, private car drivers, truck drivers, minibus drivers. All of these people are not doing what they are supposed to do. Lacks education, lack enforcement. Only this morning, just before I came on the program, I was sent a picture on the Essequibo coast. There's some accident there where a vehicle that looks like a Prado taking a bath in a trench. The person did tell me that he don't think there's any serious injuries, but it looked like the vehicle ran into 2 other vehicles and ended up overboard. You have to have a comprehensive program. And as I've said, again, they are listening because we have been speaking about education in school and corp drill and all of that. And I noted sometime during last week, it might have been, that there is a report on social media, a release issued by the police corporate communication unit, that the ransom traffic went to some school and they talk about the numbers, but that is just a one-off. The thing has to be properly organized. Not only one school, all the schools throughout the country. Not only school children. What happened to the people who are driving? I maintain that in order for us to deal with to grapple with this runaway traffic situation, it should be declared a public health emergency, and all the relevant agencies should get involved and come up with a proper plan. And the man who sits in the chair, CC, spoke some time ago about this strategic plan. You hear anything more? Have you heard anything more about this strategic plan?
Paul, the strategic plan is a fragment of their imagination. And I could use this forum to dare them to produce the 5-year strategic plan for this year, 2020 to 2025, 22 to 2025. There is none. What they're doing, they're piggybacking under the 2011-2050 strategic plan that Captain Simmons had put up. It talks about operational priority. It talks about partnerships. It talks about people. It talks about performance, and it talks about infrastructure. 5 pillars, and they're using the pillars them conveniently. There is no strategic plan. I could bet any money now. Let them produce a hard copy or a electronic copy of the strategic plan 2022-2025. There is none. At the last officers conference, they mentioned that the university of all people will assist them in putting in the strategic plan. They don't have any. They want to sound good, and now it's the only 2 persons talking about it, Clifton Hicken and his cousin Calvin Brutus. The only 2 of them talking about the strategic plan, and they're using it conveniently at certain forums to sound good. But there is no 2022-2025 strategic plan in the Guyana Police Force. Let them produce it.
Well, you made the point about the one that they're using, produced by Captain Simmons. I would say there's nothing fundamentally wrong about using a previous plan. All you have to do is to get competent people and update the plan. And once you update it, this thing is not no secret. This thing should not be like the RSS report, which I'm going to touch on shortly. It can't be a secret. If you have a strategic plan for an organization such as the police force, all the ranks have to be aware of
responsible
what
should
the plan
nobody.
is. All the ranks have to be aware of what the plan is and what the role they have to play. What type of changes? Maybe it will be required operational changes, behavioral, personal changes. So you have this plan that they call the plan, and as you said, it's a big secret. And the reason why it's a secret is because, as you've said, it don't exist. It don't exist. But coming back to the traffic situation, they need to make sure that you have a comprehensive review. I've set up all aspects of the traffic, driver's license, certification of motor vehicles, minibuses, People have asked the question. I saw some people asking the question, how is it that a man, a young person, maybe 20, 25 years, get license to drive public transportation vehicle and get license to drive big sand truck and all? The system is broken and it needs to be addressed comprehensively. For example, it's about time the law caters for a category of motor vehicle called minibus. The Motor Vehicle and Road Traffic Act as currently exists, this might shock some people. There is no category of vehicle called minibus. None. There's never been. And there is no category called minibus. And people tell you all kind of nonsense, but they are not addressing the main issue. There's no minibus. So you need, so what they did, the law speaks about motorbus, and they made some adaptation to that and using it in a kind of a haphazard manner. Only yesterday, there is a friend of mine who commented on the insurance aspect, because he was asking, how is it that public transportation vehicles can have third-party insurance for up to $300,000? But that is the reality. That is the reality. So a lot of things they have to look at. They have to make sure that the thing is comprehensive. When you talk about traffic, you're talking about the police. You're talking about the relevant Ministry of Home Affairs. You're talking about the Ministry of Public Works. You're talking about the Ministry of Health. You're talking about the magistracy, the judiciary, right? Private sector organization. All of these people got to be involved. You had people like, I remember some years you had Mothers in Black who showed an interest when I was traffic chief. They had an interest every Friday, every Wednesday. They used to go by Parliament building and demonstrate. All of those things have gone. So people need to come together. This is of national. This should have politics in it. Because when people drive mad on the road and kill people, they don't get PPP supporters, they don't get APNU supporters, they don't get no political supporters. It's craziness at all levels. And therefore, we need to come together as a country and see how best we can solve this issue. And it's not recreating anything, you know. You have jurisdictions around Caribbean and elsewhere that they have all the relevant legislation. All you have to do, come together and put something together that you can address. Because the accident situation, I am sure per capita, I understand that the traffic chief, again, they're listening. So for a couple of weeks, I've been lamenting that they don't issue figures any longer. I understand. I haven't seen it, but I saw recently some figures were released, which is good. But we need to do more than that. Don't just be reactive. No wait when Conway and Slow come and point out. I mean, you can use it. It's free advice you're getting, but make sure you sit down and deal with it comprehensively. I don't know who will be this period, but I am sure that when you look at the accidents, fatal and other accidents in Guyana, per capita, it must be among the highest in the world. Let me repeat that. When you look at fatal and other accidents in Guyana per capita, it must be among the highest in the world. Last week I said the 7 fatal accidents you had in that 10 days period, some of our sister CARICOM countries don't even have that number of accidents in the whole year. And again, don't tell me about the size of the country. That is why we use per capita. So if you look at it per capita, you're going to understand how bad we as they say, how bad we did. See?
Paul, you said a whole lot. And it is true that no piecemeal effort will work. Piecemeal effort would only give you piecemeal results. What is required is an holistic approach, as you mentioned, towards this traffic madness that is going on the road. I was happy when I heard the traffic chief mention a few figures. I will talk a little more about traffic chief. But the thing is that you only have to look at percentage increase or decrease. You have to do good analytical work, looking at trend, pattern. Is it a trend? Is it a pattern? Is it a series? Is it a spree? There are hotspots. Category of vehicles involving accidents: minibus, private cars, hire cars, pedestrians, motorcyclists, as the case may be, that you need to do deeper analysis. What time of the day accidents are being held, and the days of the week. Do proper analysis, and then you can hone your human and other resources to deal with the situation. They need to go do what we call a 3D method of operation. You're talking about data-driven decisions. Your decisions has got to be driven by data. But if you don't analyze the data, buddy, if you don't analyze the data, you really can't do a positive response. I want to caution the traffic chief. I know him well. He worked with me as a traffic officer when I was a commander with them, and then as an instructor at Felix Austin Police College. He has potentials for growth and development, but in a very precarious position. And I'm going to be very frank here. He's not well liked by the administration. They didn't promote him at the last time. We had promoted him, and then the Attorney General said that, look, they're not going to accept the promotion. He's not promoted, but they sent him there. And he needs to be very careful, because I remember Jack Warner saying that the greatest enemy is the enemy within. Let me tell you a story what happened to me. When I was commander of West Demerara, I always remember on Monday at about 2 o'clock the afternoon, I work out my lunch period, felt hungry, and was going to my quarters to get something to eat. And when I reached at the bottom of the step, there was a man said, "Commander, I want to talk to you. I got some information that I want to give you. And I want to talk to you privately." So I turned back and I went upstairs. And there's a point people must have access to you. We sat in the office and he took out a piece of paper. He had 6 names on the paper. These names had candidate numbers to them. He said those 6 persons wrote the police law and the driver test, the theory, on Friday. And he's going to bet all the money he has that they will pass the exam. He said all they did, they went to the examination room and they wrote the candidate numbers on the paper, and they didn't take off nothing at all. Just write it there. And persons at traffic headquarters will fill in the blank spaces. Good luck for me. I'd known the traffic chief there in your squaddy, Senior Superintendent Michael Harlequin. He died some time.
Yes, sure.
So I spoke with Harlequin. Harlequin took down those numbers, those names, and good luck for him. By then, they didn't distribute the papers for marking. And he called a guy and he gave him the paper to mark. Subsequently, a list came to Harlequin for saying the following persons passed the exam. And in that list, those 6 persons who did not do anything, they passed. Well, the man who did that, after a while, he was no longer a member of the police force. So I want to tell the traffic chief that he's got to be very meticulous with what he signs. They're going to joking thing to him. They're going to give him all kind of thing to sign, all in an effort to get people to get their driver's license unlawfully. And too many people getting driver's license too easily. And there's the part we have persons who are not qualified to drive on a road. Therefore, we must have accidents. So the traffic chief got to be very, very careful what he signs, what comes to him. Be careful. I mean, you must trust people. You must trust your workers. But certain things, as you know, Paul, certain things as we used to just come on like firearm license, so you bring it up to your chest, close to you. I'm saying you must hug everything, but close to you, and you must take that as priority. You're not delegating that to the 2IC, as the case may be. So the traffic chief has his work cut out. He has the potential to do good, but he has to get his support, or they're going to give him, as we say, basket to fetch water to wet duck.
Yeah, well said, CC. As you know, as I have said on this program repeatedly, I was a traffic chief on two occasions, right? And let me tell the amphibians and them jagabots, if you can read, go into the records and see who and what Paul Slow did when he was a traffic chief. Let me understand, because you're not going to say you are part of the problem. You know, they like to run with this, with them balderdash. But look to see. And I am saying this, and that is why we make the point. So you see, I understand you're talking about enforcement, you're talking about defensive driving, you're talking about education, but we are saying that it has to be a comprehensive package. That's what we're saying. It has to be a comprehensive package. When I took over traffic, I can't remember the exact year, but there was a system then where a person was not required to write any theoretical exam. There was a system, a proof system. They went into traffic headquarters, and a person was shown a couple cards, and they answered the cards, and based on that, they would say whether they were competent or not to drive. So they were saying that they're catering for people who are illiterate, who can't read and write. And I had the devil's own job to convince, and I eventually did, the administration, that should not be allowed. If a man can't read and write to pass a simple driving test, then you got to look for something else to do. Because you know, when you drive along the road, you have a lot of written signs. You have a lot of written signs, and if a man can't read a simple sign, how is he driving on the road? So I don't know, because that was discontinued during my tenure. I say you got to write, you got to pass the theoretical examination. And for people who are listening, I recall not so long ago, a journalist reported, she wrote a letter, I think, in the paper. She had to do her theoretical examination, and she did all the preparation. And she said her daughters and all of them quizzed her, and she went to the exam. And she was so pleased when she finished, because you know, when you write the examination, as soon as you come out of the thing, CC, you don't know if you pass or whether you.
Yeah.
You know, she said she came out very confident that she had aced the examination, and she awaited the results, and she got the shock of her life when she went to the result, and she was told that she failed the examination. And then she wanted to. She said, well, that can't be. That is not possible. I can't fail examination. There's a person who we said bright. You don't know dunce. And she said, I can't fail that examination. It was too simple. And she made a request to see or to review, of course, and they denied that. So there's too many problems in the old process. And I say again, when I revise the program, the old program, and introduce this learner driver package, which allows you to study at your own leisure and at home. All of those things could not have happened because we have checks and balances. We have checks and balances, and I don't know what is going on now, but I continue to say, having said all of those things, it tells you that there is need for a comprehensive review. I remember I had a devil's own job with the Insurance Association as well, because in those days, they had, perhaps they still have, open insurance, meaning that the owners of minibuses, you have an insurance policy on the minibus, and you could have given anyone. They want to produce some driver's license to you. You can give them to drive the bus, and they were covered to drive that bus. But then we make nice over it, because what you stopping then? The owner will give a person the bus to drive. They create some violation. They park the bus and they run away. But then when you went to the owner to find out who the driver was, they say, well, I know he's a skiller. I know he's a road runner, some fancy name. They had no information of the person. We said to the insurance company that you must limit the amount of persons who are allowed to drive, and you must have a record of those persons. So if a person has a minibus and they want 3. I think we have recommended 2 or 3. Those persons must come into the insurance company so the insurance company can get a record of who those drivers are. And if they want to change, no problem. You have 3. You want to change out 1, but you must go through the same process. And I think that had started. I don't know if it continues, but again, I say all of these things to say that the traffic situation as it is in Guyana needs a comprehensive review. All facets of traffic, engineering, and everything, road marking, and everything. I mean, people tell you come a long way. Yeah, because in my day, police used to be responsible for marking, road marking, and traffic light and all of that. Now you have unit within the Ministry of Transport doing that. But they need to do much more. They need to do much more, and not these band-aid arrangement that you have, not the band-aid arrangement. For example, the accident on the quarantine yesterday morning, based on what is being reported, some vehicle parked on the road in some dangerous position. Maybe the driver wasn't paying attention, he ran into the vehicle. And I said, all of those things, vehicles parking along the Linden Super Highway, those trucks catching labs, parking. They have caused so many accidents over the years. Very little is being done. When the Scottish, you recall back in the, I think it was in the early 2000s there, when the Scottish people came, when I was part of that process. They had a comprehensive program that put together to deal with as a matter of fact, I believe I set up a copy of that thing some way. You remember those Scottish people, CC?
Yeah, I remember them. I remember them. I was consulted too, you know. I remember them and seeing that time on the floor. I just want to add a couple more things in traffic. They're doing their law on the drivers now virtually, but I know the system they're using to check and see how it's going. And understand they're not holding any classes anymore. Nobody will be required to go to any classes. And as we mentioned, it's a total package and all must be involved, even with the GRA that issues the license. I read recently where a clerk at the GRA was charged together with a special constable. And I can recall I had one incident, you know, where a certifying officer gave a man a confidence thing that he passed, that he was competent to drive.
Competence certificate, yes, a competence
certificate. And he gave him a woman, the man was from Linden, and he gave her, and he quoted a woman's a woman's number who wrote the exam. So I named Conway, but I get slow results. And based on results, I passed the exam. So there's a lot of things they gotta check,
Yeah, but a lot of things, because remember there was an incident too where a man had his own competence book. A policeman was charged. He had his own book where he was issuing competence certificate on payment, of course. Again, we say in many cases, these things are not now, but I believe it has reached crisis proportions now so that action can be taken. And part of the big problem now, unlike in the past, you got this big set of political interference. So because of the political interference, the people are not police, don't have the authority. Well, they have the authority legally, but they're not doing anything to address these issues. Franklin, welcome, Franklin. Welcome all of those who are still joining. Good to have you here. Continue to share the live. We are winding down, but we have this issue now as we move on. As I did say in the notification, the Bascom saga. Now, you recall I don't know when it comes up again, but the magistrate had to place the prosecutor in custody. And then the people came out with some rubbish statement. They said, well, the police gets your statement, said the man was never placed in custody. And then he came and he gave a release to say, well, he was told to accompany the police to the inquiry's office. But, you know, a former public relations officer for the police force communicated with me recently. And he reminded me, because someone had forgotten to mention this, that in the past, I can't say what happens now because so much of stupidness going on that you really can't know. All press conferences hosted by the Commissioner of Police were recorded by the ranks at the CID because they are the ones who had the equipment to do the recording. So all press conferences were recorded. So the former public relations officer reminded me that that used to happen. And so I don't know how this the legal advisor can go to court now and say that the police did not make a record. That must be a big departure from what was a standard operation procedure. And then we get to the point now where the RSS report, as you know, if you are following in the media, the lawyer representing Dion Bascom wrote to the Minister of Home Affairs for a copy of the RSS report. The Minister of Home Affairs has indicated that the RSS report is confidential and therefore the lawyer cannot get a copy. CC, let me hear your comment on this, man.
Let me just go back to the one with the court and the prosecutor and the police. It is shocking that the police didn't record a press conference. And nonsense, Paul. You gotta tell it to, I don't know who to tell it to, that they had to record it and they've been recording and it was recorded. And apart from the matter, I have a copy of it, that it was recorded. Now, I don't believe RSS come anyway, Paul. I don't believe RSS come anyway.
How you going to say that? I've been saying that all along. I will continue to say, CC, based on all that has transpired, I don't believe there was any RSS person in Guyana to look at any report. I said that because I indicated they give a name of some former Metropolitan Police Inspector or something like that.
But Paul, how could they subcontract?
Well, but the whole story is this man was never. This is a phantom. Okay. Because this man was never presented, normally something like that I said before, the person would have come, would have given either an interview before or maybe after to say, well, he conducted. You don't have to go into details, but we have never seen this ghost that they are talking about. So maybe the police say, well, it's ghosts, contribute Franklin Jumbie, so they're bringing no ghosts to present to you. So I am of the view, continue to be of the view, that no one came. No one came. Now, again, if this report is confidential, as the ministry or the minister, I'm not sure which one, whether it's the ministry or the minister is saying so, confidential report, so the lawyer representing Bascom cannot get a copy. How come they give a press release, a media release, saying what they call the key elements of the report, which and they try to discredit Bascom story. So at what stage this thing became confidential? At what stage it became confidential? It's confidential and you releasing what you call the key reports. I am saying this further, and I know they're listening, and they just listen with a view to catch you saying the wrong thing, to drag you before the court step. Now I'm a regular the court step, so I ain't got no problem there. I'm a regular on the criminal trumped up charges and on the civil charges, which I can deal with. Now, I am saying this. We big, but we ain't stupid. If perchance there was a report, as they're trying to say, and the report exculpated, in other words, the report was favorable to the police, the major crime unit, and all those persons who were alleged to be involved in all type of impropriety. I am saying that if there was such a report, the ministry would have been eager to release it to the public. I am saying further, but if perchance there is a report, then it would appear as the findings are not as favorable or exculpatory as they would want you to believe. And this is again, we big but we ain't stupid. If RSS came as they claimed that RSS claimed, and RSS give a nice report saying, oh, the police are not at fault, Bascom allegations are unfounded. It lacks this, and they use some fancy word as well. If that were so, I am saying that they would have been the first, even before the ink, the dry on the report, they would have released it to the public. I am saying that if there is a report, and I continue to say that I don't believe there's a report. I don't believe, but if there was a report, if perchance there's a report, then maybe the findings are not what the ministry or the minister claims that they are. CC?
Paul, you know, and I'm looking at this thing more seriously. Here it is that the president of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, Dr. Ali, gave a public undertaking that the report will be released. And here is a minister of Home Affairs disobeying the president order without any reference to the president. Huh? That he ain't releasing anything? Is he bigger than the president? My God. Because maybe they didn't get nothing. And if I go back to the RSS, when they said they came to Guyana in the Henry Boys issue, they took them where they want to take them. They allow them to talk to whoever they want to talk. They went to West Berbice. They visited the scene. They spoke to people in West Berbice, and the main man there, Commander Edmund Cooper, Senior Superintendent, they didn't even say good morning to him. He was one of the first responders to the scene. He had actionable intelligence, and the RSS did not utter a word to him because he stood up. They wanted him to use little force against unarmed protesters. They wanted him to resolve conflict through the barrel of a gun, and he stood up. You know what they did? They transferred him to an office they call project office with no project there, and asked him to overlook the equine section of the force that he had to do equitating. So I don't have any confidence with RSS. Based on the first instance, the first interaction we had with them, they don't have any repetition of investigating anything. And as I say, and I agree with you, Paul, that I don't believe they have any reports. But here it is, the Minister of Affairs defying the president, total defiance. The president said, yes, they must be released. And he said, no, he ain't releasing that because of confidential. He can't release what he ain't get.
Well, let me caution you there, CC. Let me caution you because you're saying that he defied the president. We know what took place after, you know. The president made a statement publicly that the report will be released. And then that's a public consumption. But you know, if afterward they want to call, they want to say, hey, don't worry with this nonsense, they to the public, but don't give them nothing. You know, we don't know. We don't know. So
well, he should have made a reference to that, you know. That after discussion with the president,
put it on the police cap. Put it on the police cap. The president made a public commitment that the report, and you would note that I think the same day or a day after, the minister did say that he hadn't get the report yet. He hadn't get the report, and he didn't commit. But then the following day, when he said he get these key elements were released to the media. So, you know, I have said repeatedly, and the regular viewers will be able to bear me out. This thing is like quicksand, sock sand. You know, the more you wriggle, is the deeper you're sinking. The more you fight up, is the fast. And that is exactly what is going on. This matter is not going to end. Whether it's the RSS or whether you put in the vowel and you put in the A and make the name sound right, it's the same budu. And you would know too, I mean, this is not catching up enough, because about a month now, there was a report in the Stabrook News which says that a foreign security team, let me quote them. Let me quote what the Stabrook News said. And you know, Stabrook News is not going to write that, just that. Somebody told them that. They said a foreign security team was in Guyana assessing Bascom's claims. A foreign, that is what they said about a month ago. And there's not RSS, you know. There's after the RSS, after they claimed, I got to choose my language carefully. After they claimed that the RSS came and the RSS submitted a report, they said that a foreign security team was in Guyana to assess Bascom claims. That is what I said. Are we hearing nothing about that team? Another zombie story? Another zombie story, ghost of a team So I don't know what is going on, but all I know that this end gun done. This end gun done, right? And I have said again that the only way, all of these lawsuits you're hearing about 200 million, 50 million, cybercrime charges, and all of those type of things, to me, it appears as though all they're doing is to try to shut up the reporter, Bascom. That's all they're trying to do. And then go work, because if Bascom were to remain silent and not say anything more, and to his credit, he has been saying on social media, he has been saying, and I compliment him for that, because it is not going to go away. And I said that the only way this thing can come to some credible end is for a proper team, FBI, Scotland Yard, mounted police, people with credibility, the knowledge, the wherewithal to investigate this thing, the murder and the allegation of the bribe. They're going to come to clear the name. So all that they're doing with all these lawsuits and so on, they're going to clear the name. Same thing, you're hearing about sue. But if you want the name to be cleared with the sue gate, same thing. You have to have credible investigators to conduct the investigation. Mr. Conway?
Paul, let me just get back again to the minister, because it's shattering talk about confidentiality. The day before, he didn't have the report. Okay, no problem with it. And it goes back to to show a trend, to show a pattern how they operate. Remember, Paul, on the 1st of July, the installed chairman of the Police Service Commission said that he was awaiting the report from the recommendations from the Commissioner of Police for them to promote people. And on the second morning of the second, 250 something officers were promoted. No checks, no balance, no due diligence. That's why we had persons who wanted the job get promoted, persons promoted 2 times, persons with disciplinary matter promoted, persons on the criminal investigating promoted, persons who pass the police exam promoted, and a whole lot of irregularities. The list that they perhaps receive, if they receive any at all, maybe it was worse than the voters list, bloated. And I'm gonna use my grandmother term, I might be cabbage looking, Paul, but I'm green.
Yes, you see, well said. Adi, welcome. Adi is on. I gave you a shout out earlier. Good to see that you're on watching. I know that you would have been here, and you say that you enjoyed the program. You hope you can have it more days. A lot of people are making requests for the program to be more frequent, but I said we are considering it. So welcome, Adi. Welcome. I know, even though this might have been the first time you're commenting, that you have been a loyal follower. But CC, you are correct. You are correct. This thing is so scandalous that one day the report is not there, and the next day they're issuing what they call releases for the key findings of this report, and the report can't be made public. The report is now, as they say, the report is confidential and cannot be made public. But you know, they said time longer than twine. The charges against Bascom are before the court. The DPP discontinued the charge against the crime chief. I'm sure the time will come. I say one good thing is that Bascom has very competent attorneys by his side. So they could jump, they could run, but you can't hide. You could jump, you could run, but you can't hide. It's going to be revealed. It is going to be revealed, unless they're going to do some nasty work where they're going to suddenly get a report and backdate and all those type of things. And all of those things are possible, you know. All of those things are possible. The next year when the pressure mount, by the time they come to trial, they concoct some report and claim that is a report that was presented by the RSS. But the time will come, because maybe the man who did the report will be summoned, subpoenaed to come and give evidence about the report. So I am sure that the lawyers will look at all of this and be able to deal with it. The truth is going to be revealed. The truth is going to be revealed. So let's wait and let's see what is going on. Now, the last thing that I want to mention, we are almost done 1.5 hours. In closing, the frequent domestic violence, again this week, it was on the other hand now, where it is alleged that an abusive man was stabbed and killed by his partner. Is every week people committing suicide. Every week somebody chopping somebody and killing somebody, people on the quarantine or somewhere, some row between two men, the man take cutlass, chop out the big toe, chop out the next one big toe. And it's cutlass, CC, corporate
No machetes.
machete. We are no more machete in this country. We know about cutlass. Or if you're in the country, you say cutlass. You know about cutlass, you know about machete and all of these fancy language that you want to use. But it's every day, it's some violence. And again, you need to have measures. You need to have intervention for people to, it's the pressure, bro. Pressure, daily pressure of living, causing people to do all of these things, commit suicide, kill the partner, do all kind of magic, all kind of magic. So, like we should have mentioned to the relatives of the last victim victims, condolences to them, and so on. Again, people have a lot of pressure, and you got to reach out and talk to somebody. You have to have interventions at the ministerial, at the government level, to make sure that if somebody under the type of pressure, they can reach out to some agency, reach out to someone to talk to them and to give them a voice, give them an understanding. They have a shoulder to lean on so that they don't revert to these acts of violence. So, CC, any closing remark?
Yeah, Paul. We read this in the social media that 4 members of the Guyana Police Force, including 2 senior officers, were qualified you within law school. I don't know if all were admitted, but it's good. But it's not the first time. We had many other persons, I think you might know them more than I do, who became attorney at law. But I hope that those, especially the 2 at the top, that seeing that they qualify as attorney at law, that they will stop singing for the supper and that they will stop following political decision, because they won't have this thing hanging over their head by, if I do certain things, they're going to take away the scholarship, as the case may be. That they must start behaving professionally now that they have completed. And also, I hope that others will be given the opportunity to get scholarship. I remember Dr. Paul Williams, the only deputy commissioner of police right now in the Guyana Police Force. He was denied, but he went on his own and he got a doctorate in international relations, plus he got other qualification. So I'm hoping that those who qualify will behave professionally with good professional ethics and don't be politically directed as is presently happening. And I hope that others will be granted the opportunity to have scholarship for further studies, particularly in the area of law.
Well, thanks to that, CC. I hope that during the course of that training, a lot of emphasis was placed on ethics. Because if you are unethical, as some people are alleged to be, then no amount of book education can change. And some of these people are inherently dishonest. And therefore, if that is there, no matter how much qualification you get, I don't think they're going to come out. It is part of your DNA. And if you're wicked, if wickedness is part of your DNA, you're going to change easily. And let me say this too. As you rightly pointed out, this is not a force. They have joined a long list of policemen who have qualified and at the UWN Law School with a legal education certificate and admitted to the bar. A man told me yesterday, a man said some of them are admitted to the bar and some of them are admitted for the bar. And I asked him what he mean. He explained. I can't explain. I can't say what he told me before going to Facebook jail. But he did say some are admitted to the bar and some are admitted for the bar. He gave an explanation. But as I said, you had people like Henry. If you recall, 1732, he was a sergeant at CID. I think in my time, he was the first man to go and become a lawyer. Then you have 8812 Gilbert White from the countryman. He left shortly after, migrated to the state. You had the former magistrate Sister Sullivan, who was a police, right? You also had Gordon Gilhouse, who was a police, and both of them became magistrates. You had Michael Samasal, who is currently still in Guyana. He admitted while he was police. Henry Green was admitted. Key John, the late Key John. Patrice Henry, who is currently in private practice. Dexter Tabb started out as a police as well. I think by the time he was admitted, he had left the job. And that's another story. And we had, I think the latest was Edmund Cooper, you mentioned it earlier. So it's a long list of persons who have qualified with a legal education certificate and were admitted to the bar. And I'm sure, based on what the person told me, they were admitted to the bar and not for the bar. So, CC, once again, thank you very much for finding the time for us to be here. And I want to say that it is always a pleasure. People have commented on how educational this has been. And we will continue. We will continue because if you read, I'll ask you guys to look at today's editorial in the Stabrook News. It speaks about the traffic situation. And I think we will dedicate time next week to speak about traffic. CC talked about the commotion on July the 2nd. For some weeks now, people have asked me to make comment on a particular issue. And I hope that next week I have done the research, so I hope that next week I can make comment on that. So, folks, once again, always a pleasure. I close by asking you again to subscribe to the channel. Some of you have not done so as yet. And has got notification or no. Some people have not done so as yet. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification button. Because when you subscribe to the channel, the program gets more and more popular. Because I know YouTube is not confined to any particular location. It's all over. So people get the opportunity. I did mention Edmund Cooper. And I think Paul did a LLB, but he has not completed his legal education certificate. So you have to complete the legal education certificate before you can be admitted to the bar. Previously, there's another story. Previously, you had to go and spend the 2 years in Trinidad. But it would appear that since COVID, a lot of the teaching, a lot of the program is done virtually, because I don't think those persons who were recently admitted or recently qualified spent any length of time, at least not 2 years in Trinidad. So, Sagi, yes, I'm aware that other persons have completed the LLB, which is the law degree at the University of Guyana. But in order for you to be admitted to the bar and become a lawyer, you have to go to, in those days, you have to go to Trinidad, spend your 2 years at the Uwalin Law School. Then you get your legal education certificate. And then when you get back, you are admitted. But as I've said, it would appear that there's no longer a requirement for you to go to Trinidad for the 2 year. And I must say too that I read recently where it is said that very soon Guyana will have its own law school. So there will be no need for Guyanese to travel to Trinidad to attend the Uwalin Law School. So those are some of the things I tell you. Share. Well, the program is almost at the end, but subscribe to the channel. Subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube now, all of you. I have hundreds of you here. Go to YouTube, subscribe to the channel to make the program more popular. You are telling me, it is you are telling me that the program is very informative, very educational. Some people want more. And they, well, thanks to that, they said I'm getting a comment here from Selwyn that it could be Trinidad, Jamaica, or the Bahamas. The requirements to go to Trinidad resume this academic year. So we can safely say that those guys have been somewhat fortunate that because of COVID, I suspect there wasn't a requirement for the in-person teaching in Trinidad. So they were fortunate to be able to perhaps do the program virtually and be admitted. So again, make the program more popular. Make it more popular by subscribing to the YouTube channel. I want to tell you again that COVID is still around. COVID is still around. Take all the necessary precautions. Only recently we had this super spreading event. We are hoping that we don't see any adverse effect coming out of those events, cricket, and all the associated activities. So stay safe. Stay safe. Next Wednesday, we are going to be here. But let me alert you that next Wednesday, the 19th of October, according to the CCJ, the Caribbean Court of Justice, they are supposed to undo the decision in petition 99. I ain't too familiar with all the details, but I saw yesterday being said. So next week, Wednesday at 10:30. But we are going to still be here. We're going to still be here from 11 o'clock to keep you up to date. And then maybe we're going to run to YouTube or some way and see what the decision is. I suspect by the time we finish next week's program, it's going to be all over social media and the mainstream media what the Caribbean Court of Justice has ruled in respect to petition 99. So until next week, same time, and remember it's 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. Next week, 11 o'clock. Stay safe, my folks. Continue to spread the word. Be safe. And until then, have a good week and see you. Bye.